Okay, everybody, let's hope that this works the second time. Let's pray that this actually works. Technology is fantastic until it's not. Just give us a second. Let's pray that this actually. Okay, great. It actually works and we are on, which means I'm going to go ahead and share out this feed to all of my wonderful community. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I apologize for the technical difficulties up front, but I think we've hammered them all out. I'm coming to you live from Creative Gardens in Ashburn Village. And yeah, we are super excited. Hold on, let me get this up and propped up so that everybody can see me well. Okay, great. Yeah, so I just wanted to, jump on here and start a discussion on the Creative Gardens page about the big question that we're all asking, which is what would make you feel safer as a parent in Loudoun County, sending your kiddos back to school and really beyond Loudoun County, just in general. This is a hot button topic these days when it comes to just the polarization of our United States of America, which is pretty ironic when you say that, right? But today we're talking about it. Today we're talking about the real issues, which are, obviously there's folks that really want their kids back in school, and there are folks that really don't want their kids back in school, according to what information's out there and what measures the schools are taking in order to get kids back in schools. On the one hand, and I'd like to present really both sides, because I tend to not want to, choose any of those sides. I really want to make an informed decision when it comes to this. And so, obviously with Creative Gardens, our goal is to kind of simulate school in a much more controlled environment, and we can do so because, again, it's controlled. But when you're looking at a public school mass group, you're really looking at just a huge population of children, and being able to mitigate and manage those issues and being able to provide an overall safe experience for kids is a very difficult task to ask. And so there's kind of two sides right now. And one of those sides is we should open schools, and the argument around that being that, from my understanding is that kids are less likely to transmit the virus, that the virus in general only, quote unquote, kills or elderly or pre-existing conditioned folks. Now, again, I'm not choosing sides. I'm just kind of putting out an understanding of what I think that this side stands upon, which I think is, that there is a significant mental health detriment to having children isolated, to not having them around their peers, and of course, educationally not being exposed to educators, which are there to inspire and encourage the kids for lifelong learning. And so there's a big group of people out there trying to get schools open full time. The other side of things is that parents are not wanting their kids to go to school because we don't have a guarantee that their child will not contract the virus, that the virus will not spread widespread throughout schools when we open them. And kind of taking a look at both sides, unfortunately in this day and age, you can see where people are coming from on either side. Is there a mental health detriment to having kids out of school? And I think the answer is yes. I think we've seen those detriments in our own kiddos. I mean, I have 5 kids at home in a blended family, a la Brady Bunch, and we've seen our kids be anxious in social situations as we've kind of done the very minimal social interaction, during this COVID crisis, and really educationally, we've seen a detriment because I think the public school system did the best they could to get things open. Oh boy. This is the kind of stuff when you put yourself out there, right? This is the kind of messaging we get on this show. Tamil actor VJ. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Thank you for contributing. I appreciate it. But there is a detriment when it comes to keeping kids out of school. I've seen it in my own family. Are they truly learning what they need to be learning? I mean, that question still can't be answered, and we'll see over time. And are they actually understanding the concepts in which they've been taught? I mean, we really don't know. But on the other side of things, if we open schools, kids are back in schools, and they are getting engagement with educators. They're getting the support they need. And, in my opinion, COVID has pointed out a lot of flaws in the education system that hopefully we can work to create. So there's the kind of polarized both sides of things, which is don't send your kids back to school. It's dangerous in a mass population like that. Teachers don't want to go back to school. And there's even polarization there. There's teachers that do want to go back to school, that understand the importance of connection, that, that are willing to kind of put themselves at risk in order to make that happen. And then there are teachers that don't want to. They don't want to be sent into an environment where they could potentially get a virus that could do some serious damage to them. It is a difficult one. Linda writes, I appreciate all your thoughts on this subject. It's a difficult one, and it is a difficult one. Do I have my own feelings about it? Yes. Are my feelings in general juxtaposed? Yes. I think, my school is open right now. We've opened very carefully, but we also know that we're essential workers. We're frontline workers. By providing care, we in turn then allow these families to work. And I think that that's so important. And my staff has the understanding that, there is an inherent risk coming to schools, and that they understand that risk. Linda also writes, older teachers will be at risk, and that's tough. Yeah, they will be at risk. I think there's no doubt about saying that. And there's a lot of older, elderly folks, not even elderly, 50 and above, that are educating. And I think, they're at more of a risk, according to the data, than a guy like I am. I mean, I'm so young. I'm 22 years old. I'm kidding. I'm almost 40. But I think and I've had the virus. So, and I had it pretty mildly. But I think there are a lot of folks out there that are afraid. And I think fear drives a lot of the decision and polarization that's going on in our country right now, especially when it comes to schools. I think one of the biggest challenges in making an informed decision is that trying to discern factual information these days is so hard. You're watching Fox News, or you're watching MSNBC, or you're watching BBC, or whatever you're watching. It's so hard to pull the facts from that content to understand how we can make an informed decision about doing things like sending our kids back. For me, opening my school has been all about, making sure that we are making the best effort to mitigate the amount of exposure to the virus. So, the cleaning's extensive. The overall sanitization practices are extensive. The contact tracing is extensive. The limitations that we have on kids per room is extensive. There's a lot of measures that we took in order to get this done. But that also points out another issue, right? Of, I have a lot of friends in small business, and I think small business has the ability to adapt very quickly in order to stay alive, right? To change their practices in order to meet the needs of what needs to be done to keep open. We were able to do that. A public school system just isn't able to do that quickly. They can't switch practices quickly because there is a hierarchy, there is a cadence to their learning, there's all kinds of different factors that we don't think about, yet we jump on social media very quickly to judge everything that's going on. So I think, whereas myself and my business and even my fiance's business at Glow Studios, we're able to pivot and change to do what we need to do to stay open. But when you're talking about a public school system, it's very difficult to do that. So we're in this predicament. And so I ask you, parents, and remember, you can type your comments below and we can have a conversation about this. You don't just have to listen. I know you're sitting there, whether you be at work, whether you be at home, but I would really appreciate if you participated in the conversation as well too, because this is me reaching out to the community and saying, what do you as parents need to feel safe? What would make you as parents feel super safe sending your child back to school? Is it a vaccine? Is it your child receiving a vaccine? Now, mind you, Fauci did say recently that that a vaccine would only potentially be 50+% effective moving forward. Would that 50% make you feel safer sending your child to school? What would make you feel safer? Would it be 100% vaccine? Would it be that every person stayed 6 feet apart and had poles around them to ensure that that happened? What is it that would make parents feel safer? Would it be extensive cleaning practices? Would it be the promise to only have a certain amount of kids in school at a time? I mean, there's so many different options when it comes to what would make you as a parent feel safe. Is your child already in school? I know we're going to be talking with Karen Jane on Friday, who's sent her kids to school. Her kids go to a charter school, and they start about a month early. So what about that experience has made her feel safe? I'm super curious and interested, and have a group of families. I mean, our GAP program for Loudoun County is now almost at 40 kids, which is our max. So I'm basically running a small private school next year for elementary aged kids. And, it's really important to me that I get a pulse from them to understand what they want and what they need in order to feel safe in a school environment. I think schools are a different beast and different bird than a lot of other businesses because you have such a large amount of people guaranteed to be in the building every single day. Some service-based industries, can operate, especially small service-based industries, because they only have X amount of people in their building every day. They don't have the mass amount of kids and adults that you have in a public school environment. So I'm super interested, right? Like I really want to hear what you guys as parents need in order to feel safe, in order to feel like you can send your kids back and give them a little bit of the normalcy that they've been missing for so long. What I have seen in the school environment here is that kids have been dying to see each other, that they've been dying to conversate and to play and to share and to laugh. And it's a really beautiful thing to be able to see that again and to offer that to our community. But, again, that's because it's small scale. It's not a large school system. So would they be better off just saying, you know what, school doesn't start until December, and figure it out until then, extended summer? Or would they be better off, in general, just doing full distance this year until we can really get a grip. I was going to say grasp, a grip on the virus and what that looks like moving forward. I mean, let's play that out in our heads, right? Like, let's say there's a vaccine. I know that Trump just ordered I believe, 100 million units of the vaccine for America from Moderna. Let's say that vaccine comes into fruition and we get that vaccine in, I don't know, October, November. Well, then we would need also the time to deliver that vaccine and for kids to get it. So, is it wishful thinking that January we're going to go back to normal? I think it is. I think this year will be a very interesting year for education in general, because overall, we don't really know what to expect. And then, of course, there's that gray area of, it's not really about like, okay, let's get a vaccine for the virus. It's about parents feeling safe and sending their kids back. And, Linda, thank you so much for joining in on the conversation. I think it's so great. So Linda writes, the social aspect of school is number one for kids. That's 100% true. And staying home is tough for them. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. I think staying home in general for kids is not the best thing for them. Now, mind you, I want to make sure that I'm very clear that while I agree that staying home with kids is not necessarily the best for them, I also understand that, in such a mass population, it's very difficult to get kids back to school. So I want to put it out there. I'm not taking a stance on this. In fact, for me, I just want to kind of understand other people's perspectives. But like Linda said, like, we know for a fact that being in isolation is not good for any human. And making sure that we are, I think overall we need to get away from the I'm trying to think of the word, the politics of the decision making that's going on right now. I think there is a bit of virtue signaling in this, and I really think that we have to kind of get through that to understand, what is best for our kids. How can we weigh this virus against mental health and how important mental health is for children? I see a lot of validity in that. But again, I also, as an educator, understand that, it's a choice, right? Like, if you're a teacher and you are asked to go back into your school full time and don't feel comfortable about it, then maybe, unfortunately, whether teaching should be defined by that or not, this is the world we live in. And so those decisions need to be made from educators. Is like, if you're not comfortable with that, then this is the way things are going to be for a little while. We kind of have to deal with what is and not what could be. And I think people are living in fear right now. And fear is the audacity, in my mind, to be able to predict the future. And no one else except for Doc and Marty and their DeLorean going 88 can predict the future. And so I think we have to deal with what's going on right now. Right now, we have a virus that's killing 1,000 people a day. And we have to do everything in our power to make sure that we decrease that amount. I mean, I'm sitting in my podcast studio right now, but I still got a mask. And as soon as I walk out, I have a mask on. I was reading a good friend of mine's comments on social media, and he was, we all have friends that are very frustrated with the mask wearing. For me, at the end of the day, it's not about whether I'm frustrated, whether it's, right or wrong or whatever. I know that if by wearing a mask, I can potentially save lives, I'm going to wear a mask, and my team here is going to wear a mask. And, we're going to do everything that we can in order to mitigate any kind of loss of life or anything like that. So you have, on one side of things, again, we talk about this polarization. You have one side of parents valuing that mental health and understanding that mental health side of things in coronavirus and COVID is going to lead to more death, because you're going to see an increase, and we already have, in depression and suicide. But then you also have this virus that is killing people. So, and killing people, especially elderly people. And that can't happen either. So it's this catch-22. And again, people are so quick to jump online and go, well, this is what I believe, and how dare you say this and how dare you say that, when we should be saying, like, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel the way that you feel about wearing masks? Or why do you feel that kids should stay home indefinitely and not be in schools? That's the questions we should be asking. Understanding other perspectives helps to drive change, not bucking up against other people's perspectives. That causes war. And we've seen that, right? We see that playing out every day. So I implore you guys to start asking the right questions. The right questions are why? Why do you feel that way? How did you come to that conclusion? And those are the conversations we should be having, man. Like this cancel culture in our society is really a detriment. You know, it doesn't take into effect, and now mind you, there's exceptions to that, right? There's a lot of exceptions to that. There are certain people that need to be. I mean, look at Jeffrey Epstein. That guy needed to be canceled immediately. But there are also people are fallible. No one has it figured out. And so, especially when it comes to this school issue, we need to have grace with each other. That's what's going to drive us forward. That's what's going to make our school system fundamentally better. And that's ultimately what's going to give our kiddos a great experience. It's not going to be, the judgment of others. Judgment, if you guys didn't know, when you're spending time trolling others on the internet, you are strictly showing your own insecurities on the subject. For those that judge feel insecure about their own opinions about the subject, which is a lot of us. I don't think any one of us has the answer to what's best for the kids in schools right now during a global pandemic. And if you do, would love to talk to you. Let's get on the show. So, and we do have some really great guests coming on the show over the course of this week. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So the first person that we have coming on Thursday at 10 a.m. Is a man named Glenn Jenkins. And Glenn, I'm going to go to his profile now to give he is an educational leader. He's a teacher and he's a coach and entrepreneur. He's out of Rainer View Elementary School in let's see where he's at. I just found him, Mount Rainier. Where's Mount Rainier? Washington. So he's in Washington. So we're going to be talking to him, and he has worked in STEAM and math and he was a humanities teacher and character education curriculum coordinator. He was the co-founder and head of school of Sound Prep Academy, and was the head of school at Exceed Preparatory Academy. He has a lot of credentials when it comes to progressive education. And, I can't wait to talk to him. I'm always interested in different perspectives. I want to hear what Seattle's doing and what Washington's doing in regards to COVID. So really stoked to talk to Glenn tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then Friday at 10 a.m. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Glenn is at 1 p.m. It's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So catch Glenn tomorrow at 1 p.m. here on the show. And then on Friday, we have Karen Jane. And Karen, if I'm saying your name wrong, I truly apologize. Let's see. But Karen is a parent in Loudoun County, and her kiddos go to charter school. And so they're already started. So they're in Loudoun County and have already started school. She's out of Percival. Can't wait to talk with Karen on Friday at 10 a.m. Tune into that. That will be a wonderful, wonderful show in general. Want to make sure that we have... Okay, somebody is signing in. Sorry. My podcast studio is funny. I have a window into the actual Creative Garden School, so I see what's going on. So I apologize if I got distracted. Anyway, let me make sure somebody's coming. Hold on one second. Thank you. Hi there. Ooh, sorry guys. See that? Put my mask on, let parents in. That's live TV. Okay, so we have Karen Jane on. We have Glenn Jenkins on tomorrow. I implore you to tune in there. Thank you so much for the conversation. Remember, if you want to continue the conversation, simply comment below. We'll start up a convo around sending your kids back to school. Would love to hear more from you in the future. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Tune in tomorrow, tune in Friday. Lots more content coming out from Creative Gardens and the Ohana School. Want to make sure that we're having people on to really start a conversation around making informed decisions on what's best for our kids as we move forward. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Have a great day. Keep your head up. Keep moving forward. From Creative Gardens, bye-bye.